All right. Looks like Texas is in here. I can see old Curly Jaws backstage. I'm getting ready to add him. Um, and Texas is saying I've got some paints to dry. So, and I'm not gonna sing it, Texas. Trust me, you wouldn't want me to sing anything. So, um, well, old Curly Jaws is gonna join me. I'm gonna go ahead and add him right now. Hey, old Curly Jaws.
Hey,
And
so when I was when I was backstage, that entrance caught me off guard. I about fucking jumped out of my fucking chair. I'm like, what the?
sorry about that. That is kind of startling if you're, especially if you're not thinking that it's just going to start out the blue.
Yeah.
Hey, Darren. So we got Darren and Texas in here, and John left a note on here that said he's not live. He did this at 4:33 p.m., but he saw the advertisement pop up on feed for upcoming, but he says he's going to depend on my Army of Darkness 4K review if it's worth buying. He says, haha, I'll reevaluate then. So I haven't got that yet. I think it was originally supposed to come or arrive around October 4th. And now I've got a thing in my order saying it's October 18th. But if you actually click on it, for Amazon, it still says October 4th. So I guess it's going to be a surprise whether I'm going to get it October 4th or October 18th. TJ's in here.
The whole dang crew's in here, boss.
Yeah, we got what you smoking tonight, oh Curly Jaws? Is that like is it some special stuff or is it just a cigarette?
It's some special stuff.
Special
It's some
stuff.
well it's some Munsters go big or go home.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm almost afraid to say, what it really might be in case some cops were listening on here or something. I don't want them to come bust anybody. Um, Even though I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean, like,
Not anymore. It's fucking they don't give.
to me, it's not that big of a deal. If people want to sit at home and smoke it, I don't see any problem with it. I mean,
It's like drinking a beer. Like
and you're not going to get out in a car and drive around or anything. You're
yeah,
sitting
I don't even.
at home.
Yeah, I don't drive, so he's gonna walk and hurt somebody, man. He's gonna
No,
be a
it
big
just
old brute.
it just makes you mellow, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, I'm ready for this stream. I'll say that.
All right.
I've been pre gaming since 12 p.m. or
Holy
12. Yeah,
cow.
I
I,
probably have hit. I probably had at least 12 joints, few bong rips, gummies.
holy cow. Okay. Are you going to be able to stay with me for the duration or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I'm, I'm like Andre the Giant of weed.
Well, I couldn't have done that today even if I wanted to because I had to work. I think they would frown on that if I was like, taking gummies and smoking a little stuff. If I was smoking a cigarette, it might be one thing, but if I was smoking something that might affect my how I'm talking to people, I have to talk to people on the phone just about all day, so that probably wouldn't be a good idea.
It'd just be like, "What are you smoking there, Dana?" I'm smoking garlic powder. Leave me alone.
Oh goodness. Okay, so Milix in here. Yeah, we got about 5 people in here. I think other people will start popping in here
Right.
shortly. So, Curly Jaws is joining me on my Fall Frights. This is part 3 of the Fall Frights.
It's a
And I'm
brutal edition.
the brutal edition, exactly. And I'm sure that Curly Jaws is going to have some interesting picks. Now, I had been originally picking 10 movies, but I decided to cut it down a little bit since we've got two people on here talking about movies. And so I cut it down to 5. So I've got
Mhm.
5 here. I neglected to ask O'Curly Jaws how many he wanted to talk about tonight.
I
Um,
mean, I got a little stack, but I'll probably just pick what I think deserves to be talked about.
okay. So I thought I could do one and then you could do one and we could switch back and forth. Does that sound good to you or
Works for me.
okay? So do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
I can go first.
Okay. Take it away.
Alright. So this is a newer film. It came out about 2 days ago, and that's The Munsters.
Interesting.
And after watching about 40 minutes of it, I came to a conclusion. It's not a bad movie,
Uh,
but it should have been a show. Should have been a TV show, a Netflix show, or it should not have been a movie. It just the Munsters does not keep me entertained for an hour and 50 minutes. This movie is an hour and 50 minutes. Like I said, I didn't hate it. I would say definitely Phil's fall movie. Like this is like I would say any movie to watch in the fall. I'd recommend this. This is definitely has some
mm,
fall colors, some vibes for fall. Like it's a really fun movie. But it should have been a show.
mm. Actually, Steve was watching it. I'm thinking he probably downloaded it from somewhere because he was watching it after he went to lie down. I was like, "What are you watching?" And then I looked at it. I was like, "Oh, you're watching the Munsters. That's what you're watching." I was like, "How is it?" And he said, "It's not bad." He was kind of like you. It was not bad. Uh,
Yeah.
but it was a little overlong, though. I think he did mention that.
Like I'm curious what CK and Uncle Bill are gonna think about it because I know their review I think is tomorrow or something like that.
Mhm.
But they probably hate it.
I'm kind of leaning towards they're probably going to hate it, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So, is there anything like as far as special features that you want to bring up about that one?
Um, they got the Munsters Return to Mockingbird Lane documentary, a feature commentary with director Rob Zombie, which I do want to check out. Definitely want to check. Maybe it'd be better with the commentary. Like if I just watch it with the commentary,
Mm,
maybe it'd be more to watch. Like I mean, like I said, I didn't hate the movie. Maybe the commentary's like because you can only like Herman Munster in this movie. You can only bear to listen to him for so long. But I like I don't hate it. I'll say I don't hate it.
mm.
Lords of Salem I fucking hated. This is definitely not Lords of
I
Salem.
hated Lords of Salem too. Um,
Yeah, like this
I
is
didn't
like
get Lords of Salem. I've said that over and over again, and Steve kind of likes Lords of Salem, and I'm like, I don't know.
that movie's fucking unwatchable.
I would much rather watch if I was going to watch a Rob Zombie movie. I'd much rather watch House of a Thousand Corpses or Devil's Rejects or even Three from Hell. Rather than Lords of Salem.
Oh, definitely.
But so I guess I can bring up my first one, and probably old Curly Jaws is going to shake his head at this one. Steve does not like this one. And people that love this series of movies are like, how in the world can he hate this movie? But I'm sure Steve is not the only one that hates it. Um, and that's Night of the Living Dead, the original George Romero Night of the Living Dead, black and white. I'm eagerly awaiting my 4K of this. So Curly Jones is giving thumbs up. I'm surprised because I would
I
figure that
liked
he would
it.
say, I don't like that one.
Yeah, the original
Um,
one I love. It's a classic. Like I remember watching it when I was younger with my dad, and just I like it. It's a fun movie.
Dawn of the Dead is the one I remember watching with my dad, just like Uncle Bill watched Dawn of the Dead with his dad. But he also likes Night of the Living Dead. So there's a lot of love for Night of the Living Dead, but there's a small group of people that don't much care for it. But this just always seems, I don't know if it's because it's black and white, but zombie films in general for me seem like fall type of movies. They could even take place in the springtime, and I would still think zombies and fall. They just seem to go together. And the fact that this is in black and white, I mean, it looks very dreary and desolate. And I've said that about a lot of the films that I've discussed in this series, that the more desolate, dreary, even depressing that the atmosphere seems, the more it seems like fall or fall getting ready to go into winter time. And I think black and white kind of captures that perfectly. Um, I don't think I need to go into the entire plot of Night of the Living Dead. I think people pretty much got an idea what this movie is, what it's about. Um, and I'm not sure. Oh, yeah, it does have a lot of special features on it. I mean, this is a Criterion release, so they're pretty packed, usually. This is a 4K digital restoration, which is going to make people say, I know what they're going to say. Why on earth do you need to get it in 4K? I mean, I could hear CK right now saying, why do you need to get it in 4K? The 4K digital restoration on a Blu-ray is fine. But we'll see. I'm eagerly awaiting the arrival of the 4K. This digital restoration was supervised by George Romero. So that's always good when they allow the director in on these restorations. Let's see. I'm not going to go over all of these, but it also has Night of Anubis, a never before presented work print edit of the film. And I don't think, honestly, that I've sat and watched that whole entire thing, but I need to. Um, and then there's a program featuring filmmakers Frank Darabont, Guillermo del Toro, and Robert Rodriguez talking about the film, which is interesting. There's a 16 millimeter dailies reel. There's two audio commentaries, but the audio commentaries are from 1994, which that's been a while. That was the year I graduated from high school. So that's been a long while. I'm 46 years old now, and those commentaries came out the year I
You know
graduated.
what's funny?
What's that?
I was born in '95.
Oh God. I feel so old. I feel so old. You were born the year after I graduated high school. Golly. Oh man. Now see, it's like I said, that generational gap. I think that's why we have, we like some movies the same, but I think you're in that generational group of curly jaws that likes a lot of this stuff that us old school guys and gals are like, what? They like that, and it's just that generation gap. It's always happened that way. I mean, we generally didn't like the music and the movies that our parents liked overall. I mean, there might have been some things that we liked the same. So, I mean, technically, oh, Curly Jaws, you could have been my kid, if I had had any kids. So
No,
it
I want to
seems so.
message Steve like you're my dad now. I'm gonna message Steve like you're my dad now. He's gonna be like, what the?
Oh, goodness.
Uh,
But it's got some other interviews and stuff on. But like I said, I'm not going to go, completely into all of these, mainly because we're getting ready to get the 4K release coming out, and what you want to bet they port over the majority, if not all, of these things onto the 4K. I'm betting they do, probably to save money. But I'm going to hand it back over to old Curly Jaw so he can talk about his next one.
All right, so the next pick is a movie that a lot of people are divided. Another controversial pick for me, but it's Rob Zombie's Halloween.
And
A lot like
old Curly Jaws knows how I stand on that.
it's the movie that, in my opinion, that truly made Michael Myers, in my opinion, scary. Because let's be Michael Myers wasn't for me. He wasn't scary in the original or any of like. This is like when he becomes a true like I'm gonna fuck you up. Like he just does like the way like especially when he was a kid. The kid version, in my opinion, was more terrifying because that like I don't know why I could see that like happening. Like I just like something about that because I live in Indiana, so I could see that happening. But I really like this is so fall like it, even though it came out I think it came out in August and on weird I don't know why they decided to release it there, but it always felt like a fall movie and I thought the look of Michael Myers he just looked like fall. It just the whole film just felt like that fall atmosphere and I really love this movie. I really dig it, and I even enjoyed the second one even more.
I will agree that it is fall like. I'm not going to say I like it, but it is. I do agree that it is fall like. I mean the desaturation and stuff of the colors and things like that. That is very fall like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like this pretty cool like addition.
Is that a steel book or?
Yeah, it's a steelbook.
Okay, I thought it was.
Yeah, it's a Blu-ray steelbook.
That is a pretty cool package, though.
Yeah, I feel like Rob Zombie's Halloween's got screwed over the years and never really got a really cool edition, like a package edition, like I don't know, maybe like a statue or something, like I don't know, something like really cool box with both Rob Zombie's Halloween films would be. I think I would love to have seen it, but we never got that.
Right. I'm gonna go through a few of these chat messages just so people don't think we're ignoring the chat here.
Mm.
Um, so Blissful is saying hi, Dana. Hi, Blissful. And Darren said, I hated the monsters and Lords of Salem. Um, oh, I lost old Curly Jaws. Where'd he go? Um, Hopefully he'll come back so I can re-add him. Ah, there he is. You went away.
Yeah, I accidentally pressed the back out button by
Oh,
accident.
okay. Let's see here. So TJ says those Night of Living Dead commentaries were fairly informative by cast and crew. I don't think updating it would add much. Probably not. Especially since many of those people have passed. Yeah, including George Romero, sadly. Um, and Darren said, my son's 1 year older than Curly Jaws, but then I think he said, yeah, 1 year younger. I'm bad at maths. LOL. So his son is 1 year younger than you.
Wow.
And let's see. Blissful says, I love Rob Zombie because I used to be friends with his drummer. LOL. So that's really cool. I agree, Blissful. Math is evil. I hate math. I was terrible at math in school. And the higher math, forget it. When you start getting into algebra and stuff like that, oh Lord. It's a wonder I didn't just flunk completely out of those because it's terrible at them. I wasn't
Yeah.
good at simple math either. I think I don't know, my brain just doesn't want to
Same.
absorb anything to do with math. I had trouble learning to tell time when I was a lot younger. It took me forever to learn how to tell time with just a regular clock. Um,
Mm,
and I think it's even worse now. I think kids now have gotten so used to like looking at something digital. I mean, that they don't even think about how they need
yeah.
to read a regular, everyday clock. Um, and it took me forever to learn how to count money. Like when I was a kid, they would give us like fake money that we would punch it out of these little books, and we had fake paper money and we had fake coins. And that's how they would teach you how to count money. That took me forever. So I just think I'm, a little mentally deficient when it comes to math. Now, you give me stuff to do with English, I'm great at it. I used to be an excellent speller. I'm not so much now. It's like you don't use it, you lose it type of thing. But I used to be an excellent speller. I can still write. I'm pretty satisfied with how my writing skills are, like creative writing and stuff like that. But science, I was always good at. Social studies, I was good at. But math, forget it. I was just not good at it. Um, let's see. TJ says Rob Zombie Halloween wasn't the worst movie ever, but I wouldn't revisit it at this point. I didn't need to know everything about Myers. Surprised we didn't learn what shoe size he wore. LOL. I would have to agree that I didn't need to know that much about Michael Myers because I think, and old Curly Jaw's probably going to roll his eyes at me because I'm going to talk about the 1978 Halloween, which he says is overrated. But I think what was great with that was John Carpenter didn't feel the need to explain everything. Myers was just Myers, and he was just going to, he was just killing, and they didn't have to add any kind of bullying element to it. They didn't have to do any of that. He was just something went wrong in his head as a little boy, and he wanted to kill. So, I mean, but that's, you can have two schools of thought on that. You can have people that say, I like that they explained what they did in
Well,
Rob Zombie's Halloween. What do
I'll
you, how
tell
do
you.
you feel about that, oh Curly Jaws?
I'll say this: there's one thing the original Halloween does that makes the Rob Zombie one better,
Hmm.
and that's Scout Taylor Compton.
Oh, oh God! That just hearing that gal's name, chick's name,
I mean,
makes my head hurt.
in my opinion, she's the true Laurie Strode.
Oh, I'm gonna have to go back and watch the 1978 Halloween. No, really, I'm gonna have to cleanse that image from my brain. All I can think about when I think about Scout Taylor Compton playing Laurie Strode is that thing she did with the damn donut, like making the sexual thing with the donut. I'm like,
Yeah,
that is not Laurie Strode. That's
I want to
not
get that.
Laurie.
I want to get that on a shirt.
Are you?
Yeah, Team Public, CK. There you go. Get that made.
He might do it. You know, I'm
Be
gonna have
like,
to fix my. Steve
it
made
could
me
say
a Jason hockey mask, and it's on top of my desk, and for some reason, it's
it could say the greatest scene in movie history. Oh, Curly Jaws.
and you'll buy 20 shirts of that, right?
Yeah, I'll be like, everybody gets a shirt.
Oh man, let's see what Darren says here. Darren says Zombie should have never made those Halloween films. He would have been more suited to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I could have seen him doing maybe a halfway decent Texas Chainsaw Massacre just because of his style and everything. Um, I think I hate to say that it's white trash style, but that's what I think of when I see a Rob Zombie movie is white trash type of thing. And I'm not trying to offend anybody or anything. if you live in a trailer park, I'm not talking about, because you live in a trailer park, you're white trash. That's not what I'm talking about. It's just like, it seems like just about every movie Rob Zombie made there for a while, there was that white trash element in there. Like,
See, that's what this movie needed.
mm-hmm.
I wanted some white trash
It needed
monsters
that.
like that. That's like if I had to have any like made like besides the gap, like besides the timing of that mirror and like some slow parts, like if it was just if you're gonna you're known for being a rated R hardcore like director, just make this R because that would have been hilarious.
Well, this shows how little I knew about the new Munsters movie. I thought maybe you would try to make it rated R, and I asked Steve. I was like, "Is this rated R?" He's like, "No." He says it's PG. I was like,
Mm,
"Oh." So, and excuse my language, guys, but I do use this word from time to time. I said, "So you mean the characters aren't saying fuck every 5 minutes or 5 seconds or whatever?" Um, so he said, "No." He said it's purely like PG rated fare. So TJ says Scout was good in the Runaways movie playing Lita Ford. Well, I will agree with that. I did like the Runaways movie, although they didn't give her a lot to do in that movie. And Texas says, yeah, that Runaways movie was decent, not great. Well, it wasn't the best of those music type of movies, but I thought it was, at least watchable. Hey, Wes, he says, oh, Curly, what the fuck are you on tonight, boss? LOL.
I'm on that creepy Kush. We'll call it the creepy Kush.
And then he says,
Hey,
oh, I see, LOL. So he must have guessed what you're on.
fucking
Darren says, that new Monsters film could have done with some skull fucking.
yeah, that exactly. Why did you not have Herman Munster, Sharon Moon Zombie's character in this movie? I will never know.
I bet Rob Zombie really wanted to do that. Like he's gonna come out with a director's cut and he's gonna put everything in there that he wanted to have.
He needs to. Like, why not? Like, he had to make like an R cut of that movie or something.
He's got it in his basement or something. He's just waiting to
Yeah.
bring it out.
He's like, this is the fucking skull fucking edition of the Munsters.
It's coming. Just wait. It'll the unrated director's cut of the Monsters. It's coming.
Yeah, it's gonna be at the Strain Twin.
TJ says, sadly, they couldn't tell the real story in Runaways, which would have been crazy. LOL. Yeah, because I've read some things about like that behind the scenes stuff that supposedly went on. So yeah, it could have been extra crazy if they had wanted it to be. Um, so I'm going to move on to my next one, which is also a George Romero film. I told you the zombie films
Oh shit.
are fall movies for me, and that is Dawn of the Dead. This is it's not the second sight limited edition.
No,
Oh, Curly Jaws is giving that the thumbs down on
that
that one.
probably worst zombie film ever.
Oh no, yeah.
Oh shit.
I love this movie, and I loved it before watching it with my dad because I'd watched it several times before my dad ended up watching it with me, and I really don't know why dad was why he agreed to watch it with me. I mean, he likes zombie stuff now because he continued to watch The Walking Dead way after I tuned out of it. So dad's kind of been a closet zombie fan for a long
So
time.
so Darius Dead's not better.
No, no, no.
That's a good one. That's a good zombie one.
That's when I started, and bless George Romero's heart, he's no longer around, and I did get to meet him, fortunately, before he passed away, and it was a really good experience. George Romero was like, he's just like he is when they interviewed him. He's he wasn't reserved, but he's low key, a very low key individual. Kind of seems he kind of seemed to take everything in stride. Like things didn't ruffle his feathers or anything like that. So I like those kind of people because I wish I could be more like that. Instead, I get all, up in the air about the least little thing. And I wish that, I could be like some of these people that stuff doesn't seem to bother them. But, sometimes when people act like that, they're internalizing a lot of things. Um,
I know what will help you. You need 300 milligram gummies.
I don't know, oh, Curly Jaws. I told you about the time that I tried one gummy. I had one of those gummies that Steve had, and
These gummies, each gummy is 300 milligrams.
oh, I don't know. Steve might have to call them and they'd come and bring the straight jacket and put on me because I don't. I have a tendency to. Do you have a tendency to have panic attacks at all?
Like when I smoke or just in general.
Well, just in general.
Yeah.
And do you have anxiety and
Oh yeah, I'm on
stuff like
medicine for it.
that? Okay. So what happened to me, and I don't know if it was just because I was thinking about it too much, maybe if I had just taken the gummy and just not thought about it too much, maybe it would have been better.
See,
Um,
this is how I see it.
mm,
Like when I first started using that stuff, I was like, I remember the first night I did it, I literally was in my chair, like feet in the fetal position, thinking Freddy's gonna get me. And
mm,
after a while, you get used to it, and you're like, okay, now you're more relaxed, you're cool, you're collective.
uh, well, what happened to me is like they said that you should like slowly ease yourself into it. So it was suggested that you take half of a gummy and then you wait for 30 minutes or so, and then you take the other half. So I did that, and like the first half of a gummy I took, I felt okay. I waited about 30 minutes, I took the other one, and I'd say probably about 15 minutes into that second half, I started feeling weird. And I had never had this type of feeling before because I've never, I mean, it's not like marijuana or THC is like a hard drug, like, it's not like cocaine or heroin or something like that, but
Well, I gotta bust that out now. I'm joking.
and, so when it kicked in, I was like, this is so weird," and I've talked about I decided to get up off the couch, I wanted to get something to drink,
Mm.
and not alcohol, of course, I was gonna get me just a soft drink or something. So I got up to walk from the living room to the kitchen, and it was literally like my foot hovered in the air for like a half a second extra before it hit the floor. And I was like, holy crap, what is going on here? And so I had to hurry up and get back to the couch because it was making me feel strange. And then I got scared because I thought, how long is this going to last? And I thought I was going to go into a panic attack. I was like, I'm going to go into a panic attack if this doesn't wear off soon. So that's why I'm hesitant to, try them again. But again, I don't think I need to go into the details of Dawn of the Dead. I think most of you guys, if not all of you guys in here, know what it's about. But again, it's zombies. For me, zombies equal fall or Halloween, or I just associate fall with zombie films. So I'm gonna see what people are putting in TJ says, please, the Munsters movie doesn't need to be any longer. uh, Darren, you say, I'm actually with Curly Jaws on this one. I didn't think I'd ever say that. And I think he's talking about Dawn of the Dead because I don't think Darren cares much for Dawn of the Dead.
It's just like it's so overhyped, just like Halloween, the original one. Everyone's like, it's the greatest movie ever, and I'm just like, no, Rob Zombie.
But that's I've said this before. I'll say it again on Curly Jaws. I've laughed some of the things you say, but it's not like I'm making fun of you. It's just because I love that people have different opinions on this stuff. Because I've said this before too. Imagine how boring the world would be if we were all like robots that like the same thing. That would be so boring and it would be scary too.
Yeah.
Nobody had their own opinions about anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that.
Let's see. 71 says being nice isn't a great idea when someone's giving you shit. Well, but sometimes 71, I'm too nice to people. I let people walk all over me, and I've done that all my life. And at 46 years old, I should really be saying to hell with that, being nice to everybody and letting everybody walk all over me. There's Uncle Bill. He says, "Oh, Curly, you on that good kush tonight?"
Always.
71 says it looks like he's on some good shit.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, 71. You say Dawn of the Dead is awesome. We've got some Dawn of the Dead people in here. I know Uncle Bill's a Dawn of the Dead person. Texas says it's not overhyped at all. Okay. So, like I said, this is that second sight, not the limited edition. Unfortunately I missed out on that limited edition that came with all the bells and whistles, but this is still an excellent 4K transfer, in my opinion. So I'm going to hand it back over to old Curly Jaws and let him talk about his next one here.
So the next one, in my opinion, is another underrated horror film. And it's later in a franchise. It's Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh, interesting.
Now, especially when the opening of this movie, when the woman's in the little cabin, she's like, going around the cabin, and it's definitely has that fall vibe. And then when you see Jason for the first time in this movie, he looks badass. In my opinion, this is probably my favorite version of Jason, just the look in general. Even though you only get to see this Jason for maybe 10 minutes at most during the whole movie. I mean, I didn't mind the worm baby thing. Everybody shits all over that. I didn't mind it.
I didn't mind it either. I actually don't dislike Jason Goes to Hell like a lot of people do. I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah, personally, I wish this would have led to Freddy versus Jason, sooner than later. I would have had Freddy and Jason Hell fighting each other, and this could have been a really good way to kick off. I think the film's great. I think it gets way too much shit personally.
I think Freddy versus Jason would have been a better film if they had made it right after that one.
Oh, definitely. If they would and I would have used this design for Jason. This design, in my opinion, was just really cool, and in my opinion, the best looking Jason. I think people don't really complain about the look, but they do complain about the little worm thing, which I'm it was trying to do something different. You can only do Jason hockey mask so much. Let's make him a worm.
Right. And you know what else? Put freaking Kane Hodder in the movie. Don't replace him. That pissed me off so bad when they did finally make Freddy versus Jason and they didn't let Kane Hodder return as Jason. And they freaking let him think for a long time he was going to be playing Jason. They sent him the script and everything, and then they just shit all over him. You're talking about the guy that played Jason for several years in a row. I mean, he was Jason. He's the first guy I remember reading about at length in Fangoria and Gore's Own magazine. But,
Yeah, I think they should definitely got Kane Hunter for Freddy versus Jason. I mean, the guy they got, he was all right, but Kane Hunter, I think, you would have felt the soul more.
yeah, did you watch that To Hell and Back, the Kane Hodder story?
No, I heard it's good. I remember you talking about it.
Yes, that is one of my top, I guess, documentaries about somebody in the horror business. I think the Smoke and Mirrors one about Tom Savini is really good too. And so those are the two big ones for me that have came out in the last few years or so. But I definitely the Kane Hodder one like really opened my eyes to. I knew he was burned, but I did not know up until the point about the time that book came out, because the book came out and then they did the documentary. So up until the time when the book came out, I did not know exactly how he got burned. I thought he got burned, on the set of a movie or something like that. But no, he was really young when he got burned that bad, and he was doing a stunt for a photographer or a journalist, and it just totally went sideways, and he could have died from that. And Kane Hodder's a really cool guy to meet. I know I've heard some people say, Kane Hodder's overrated. I think Uncle Bill said Kane Hodder was overrated one night, and he was like, "What are you talking about, Dana? Kane Hodder's overrated." And I don't know if he was kidding or what, but I met Kane Hunter a few years back at Scarefest, and he was really cool. He didn't choke me like he does some people in the pictures, but I did get a really good picture with him. So I don't know. Have you ever met Kane Hunter, oh Curly Jaws?
No, I saw him at a convention. I never went up to him. I went to Derek Mears instead.
Well, Derek Mears is supposed to be a really cool guy too.
Oh, he was very nice, very polite, really cool dude, really chill.
And he just looks nice. I've seen him in interviews and stuff, and he just, like you said, chill, laid back. He just doesn't look like anything bothers him. Let's see here. Let me go back up here and see what people are saying here. 71 says, "Yeah, I didn't care for Jason Goes to Hell." See, I hear a lot of people say that. Let's see. And Darren says the opening to Jason Goes to Hell is actually really good, but the movie goes downhill fast after. Well, you know what? I kind of felt like Darren the first time I watched it, because I was so caught up in the woman being at Crystal Lake again, and I was like, oh, they're going to go back to form with this. I see where they're going with this. And then they just blew it wide open, and it kind of it got flipped upside down, kind of. But now that I've watched it several more times since then, I think I appreciate it more. 71 says, I'd have to be totally wasted to watch that one.
It helps, but like even if I'm sober, I still enjoy it. Like it's still a fun movie. Like I like the Duke character. I thought he was really badass.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's like he's never introduced in the other films, he just pops out like, I'm Darren Duke, motherfucker.
I love that guy.
I'm just like, where did you come from? I'm like, all right.
And you know what? I would not have kept sticking my fingers through them bars and letting him break my fingers. I was like, dude, how stupid are you?
I'm like, that's. I'm like, yeah, that was. I loved it. Like that movie is just fun. Like, what did you? I can't. Did you like the worm thing, or was you like, why are they doing this?
I guess I didn't think about it one way or the other. It was just there, and I neither liked it nor hated it. It was just in the movie. Um, so Darren says he did watch Titan for the Eurocult podcast. He says, I won't say too much, but it's an interesting one, that's for sure. Yes, it is interesting in more ways than one. Oh, Curly Jaws, have you ever seen Titan?
I've never heard of it.
You need to look that one up and give it a try. I'd love to hear what you think about it.
Oh, I'll definitely have to check it out.
Let's see here. Blissful says she's getting secondhand munchies. I guess from watching you smoke and then eat.
Oh, this is really good. This kettle corn. I don't know if you're a
I've
kettle
seen,
corn
I've
fan.
seen that stuff. I've never ate that, but I've seen it in the store though.
It's so good. Like it's
71 says, "Can we inhale through our screen, please?" Yeah, I guess you can try it. I don't know if it'll work that way, but stranger things
yeah.
happen.
If I could offer you all, I would.
71 says that Monster Dog and Rats movie was awesome. Watched them back to back the other night. Well, I'm glad you liked them, 71. I love introducing people to different movies and oh, come on, Bliss. Will you say at 71? No rats. Hey, I have a pet rat. I used to have several pet rats, but I just have one left now. And I
Oh,
told Steve, I would just try to keep that little guy company so he doesn't get lonely until he passes away. And then I'm not going to get any more rats because they just don't live long, guys. Anybody that's had rats as pets probably understands that, but I just it hurts me every time one of them dies. People probably think, "Ooh, rats," but I've literally sat there with one of my rats as it was dying and petted it just like you would pet a dog that's dying. And I was crying and everything, and I just told Steve I couldn't go through that anymore. I mean, I've went through that with about 17 rats now because I had a lot of rats at one time. 71 says, "Come on, get with the program. We are having rats at the wedding." Oh, 71, you say I've had two mice just collapse dead in front of me twice. A bit
damn.
creepy. Yeah, that would be a little bit creepy. I've had mice as pets too in the past, not since I've been married. Uh, Steve
Have
got
you
the
ever had frogs?
frogs.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, yeah. I used to keep toad frogs as pets when I was a kid. The toad frogs that you find out in your yard. I mean, no Curly Jaws knows. He lives over in Indiana. I'm sure he's seen his fair share of toad frogs.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
I've had, oh gosh, I've even had tobacco worms as pets. And have you guys seen tobacco worms? I mean, probably old Curly Jaws has seen tobacco worms. Those big green fat dudes, and they get on the tobacco plants. My papa used to pay me to pull those off of his tobacco plants. Now, what most people do when they pull those off the tobacco plants is they throw them on the ground real hard and they bust everywhere and they kill them. Now, Papa let me keep them, but he said, "Now, Dana, don't you let those things back out so they'll get back on my tobacco plants. So I had to, I would take them home and put them in a little aquarium like thing, and I would feed them. And I kept hoping that they would spin a cocoon, or make a cocoon, and then they would come out and be butterflies or moths or, whatever. Because I used to love this book when I was a kid called Terry and the Caterpillars. And Terry, the little girl in the book, got a bunch of caterpillars and she kept feeding them. And then one day they made cocoons and she kept the cocoons and then they came out and they were butterflies. And I just always loved that story. So I wanted to do that, but I was never able to get any caterpillars to spin cocoons and come out as butterflies. So unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
Let's see. 71, you say it sounds like a good movie plot, but in the movie they start eating people. Okay, so moving right along here, since we're caught up on the chat again. This might be a surprise for some people, and there might be some people that haven't even seen or heard of this movie. But this is Night School. This is part of the Warner Archive collection, which I'm not too fond of the Warner Archive collection. I'll be honest with you guys, because the quality is not that great. Because what these things are is they're made to order DVDs and Blu-rays, which means they don't even press these things until somebody orders them. So, have you heard of Night School, Oh Curly Jaws, with Rachel Ward?
I've never heard of that one.
So, since this one might be a little bit more unknown than these other two I talked about, I'll give you a little bit of a plot on it. So they work by day, take a full schedule of classes all night, and somehow find time for study and an occasional date. Women in the evening curriculum at Boston's distinguished Wendell College do a lot to get ahead in life. But there's someone who will go to even greater lengths, someone who will do anything to get ahead. A killer whose MO is the ritualistic decapitation of victims makes terror a required course at night school. And this stars Rachel Ward, who was in The Thornbirds, which is a movie I hate. I absolutely hate The Thornbirds. And After Dark, My Sweet. This was her screen debut. This was the first film she was in. Leonard Mann plays the homicide lieutenant assigned to the puzzling case. He has hunches, not clues, suspects, not evidence, and a rising body count. Finals are coming early this year at Wendell, and for those who don't make the grade, heads will roll. And the great thing about this one is I thought it was a little bit unique what the killer actually did with the heads. The killer would cut off the heads and then somehow figure out how to put them in water. So maybe they might be in a bucket of water. Somebody gets killed in a restaurant and their head ends up in the soup. And then they don't know there's a head in the bottom of this great big soup pot or stew pot. And people come in the next day and they're like, where's the waitress so-and-so? And nobody knows where she is. Well, her head's in the bottom of that stew pot. And so these guys come in, these big burly construction worker like guys, and they're ordering stew. And they keep pulling hair, great big wads of hair out of their stew. And then they complain. So the chef goes back there and he starts pouring some of the stew out. And gradually this woman's head shows up at the bottom of the stew pot. And there's other, it's not necessarily, I guess, always water, but some kind of liquid the heads end up in. And I just thought that was kind of unique. I mean, I've seen things where heads have gotten cut off and been in fish tanks, and there have been a couple of good movies, in my opinion, that had scenes like that. But this was a whole movie where these women were getting their heads cut off, and the next thing you know, it's in a bucket of water, it's in a lake, it's in a stew pot. I just found that interesting and, morbidly interesting. Um, and I feel like the way they set up the killer was good, where the first time I watched this, I wasn't able to figure out who the killer was. Um, and then, of course, when you watch it a second time, after you already know, you're like, oh, yeah, I didn't see this, this, and this. And it has a few twists along the way and stuff like that. So overall, I think it's a pretty good film. Um, and Rachel Ward is great in it. The only movie I ever thought she was bad in was The Thornbirds, and I thought she was terrible in that. But she's not only been in Night School, but she's also been in The Final Tear with Joey Pants. Joe Pantolano is in that one, and Adrian Zaned's in it. Daryl Hannah, a very young Daryl Hannah's in The Final Tear as well. So you got a lot of pretty big names in that movie. And I'm sure I'll talk about that movie at some point, but just not tonight. So yeah, this is another one that's kind of got a dark, depressing, like city type of atmosphere, and it just reminds me of fall every time I watch it. The scenes around the college, the scenes around the city. I mean, they all look so, cold and desolate and, dare I say it again, depressing. But all of those things seem to remind me of fall. So I would highly recommend this one, especially if you haven't seen it. Good little film. So you think you might watch it, old Curly Jaws?
I might give it a look. See.
So you got another one ready to go there?
Yeah, I got this one's more. This is gonna be an interesting one, which it kind of is. It's kind of ironic because of the first movie I picked, and that is the Adams Family and Adams Family Values.
Uh huh.
This screams fall. Like these movies, I watch these every fall, and they're really fun. Like I love the Adams Family. I love every version of the Adams Family. Like there's not a version I don't like, but these are probably my favorite.
Okay, that's like your version of Hocus Pocus, right? You know how a lot of people want to watch Hocus Pocus around Halloween. I bet
Yeah.
you're not a Hocus Pocus person. You're an Adams Family person.
I mean, I like Hocus Pocus, but I watch this more than Hocus Pocus. Definitely,
Right.
like especially the second one. I love the second one, even though the second one is more of a summer movie, but I still put it with fall. Like it has a fall theme to it as well.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with
Did,
that. I could see that.
did you like the Addams Family movies?
Ah, I remember, like, I don't think I watched Adam's Family Values, but I think I watched the first one, and I remember it being a pretty decent film. I don't remember it being bad at all. But I probably need to watch the other one. I need to watch Adam's Family Values at some point.
Yeah, this is probably the best set for this 2 pack collector's edition. Like you got a lot of features, like and it's a really cool set. Like, and I feel like I really wish we would have got like a third Tim Burton Adams Family movie, but we got that really shitty direct to TV movie, which I saw TV spots for it, and I'm just like I don't know, something about that just doesn't. The girl that plays Wednesday looks really like she looks like the sloth from the Ice Age.
Oh my goodness.
That's who she looks like, and I'm just like I can't get behind that. Tim Curry, I could see as Gomez, but other than that, like that, no.
So Uncle Bill says, "You got a damn tackle box out, buddy. You going fishing?"
I'm gonna go to freaking what's that movie? Blood Lake or whatever the one with the
Yeah,
hook
we're gonna go to Blood Lake.
or yeah, the fucking or Hook, whatever that fucking they got with the fishing movie.
Texas says he thinks he saw Night School way back when it was on cable. And 71 says, "I love decapitation." I don't know exactly how to take that, but okay. Darren says Night School needs the arrow treatment. Slasher meets Jallo. I agree, Darren. It does need the arrow treatment.
You know who need vinegar? I got well. I'll let you do yours, but vinegar syndrome. Somebody needs to get a hold of my next title.
Ah, okay.
Somebody needs to do a special 15-disc edition of this movie.
Holy cow. Okay. I'm just trying to catch up on some of these chats. Hey, Matt. Matt's in the house now. 71 did say that was such a stupid movie, The Thornbirds. My thoughts exactly. My parents love that movie, though, on the other hand. TJ says Night School is a good Jallo-esque slasher. Could have done with some gorier kills. Filmed mostly in the Boston area. Matt says you look fried, oh curly jaws.
Yeah, I could say that.
Blissful says the Thornbirds will haunt me forever, as the book did. See, I never read the book, and I really have no interest in reading the book. Matt says you're smoking the devil's lettuce.
Damn right.
71 says I did like the Addams Family. She says Wednesday was me as a child.
Yes. I'm really excited for the Wednesday show. I think that's going to be really good. Jenny Ortega is going to be amazing.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. I heard Steve talking about that a little bit.
That's the only reason why I bought Netflix.
Is it?
Yeah, it's the only reason.
So Blissful says I wanted to be a member of the Addams Family.
I might this Halloween might go as Lurch.
Lurch. I like Lurch. He's cool. TJ says I'll be cousin It. Let's see. Let's see what Matt says here. Curly Jaws looks like he would listen to Sublime. Do you listen to Sublime at all?
They're all right. Like I listen to more like Ozzy, the Beatles, Pink Floyd, Billie Eilish.
Well, Billie Eilish, no. I don't like Billie Eilish. Steve does. He's like, she's cute. She's unique. I'm like, no. She's weird looking. And I don't care for her singing either, but to each his own. Some people like it. And TJ says Addams Family could almost be called a Christmas movie. It starts off as one pre-credits, but then it ends on Halloween. Yeah, you can watch it for both holidays. You can watch it around Halloween. You can watch it around Christmas.
Exactly.
So, let's see. It is my turn again, isn't it? Oh, curly jaws. I'm forgetting here. Okay. So, this one Steve really likes too, but this is another one I don't know if everybody in here will have seen, and that's One Dark Night with Meg Tilly, and it also has Adam West in it, believe it or not. So, oh, curly jaws, have you ever seen One Dark Night?
Never heard of it.
I think that One Dark Night just has a very creepy but subdued atmosphere in it. There's just this undercurrent of something just isn't right the whole movie. And those ain't pop rocks, are they? No, it's
No,
got a pot leaf on it. No, I don't.
it's
I got.
gummy.
I thought at first it looked like the packets that the Pop Rocks come in until I saw the pot leaf on it, and then I was like, "Nah, that's not what that is." Um, so let me give a little bit of a plot synopsis on this. World famous psychic Raymar is found dead, along with several victims of his bizarre experiments. On the same day his body is interred in the mausoleum, high schooler Julie Wells, played by Meg Tilly, agrees to spend the night there alone as part of a hazing to join a clique, called the Sisters, which has Robin Evans, Leslie Spites, and E.G. Daly from Bad Dreams and Pee Wee's Big Adventure. Later that night, the sisters secretly return to torment Julie in an attempt to scare her out of her mind. But the girls are not alone. Raymar's experiments continue even after death, on his own body and on the dozen resident corpses in various stages of decay. So this is kind of like a zombie type of movie. Soon they're exhumed and looking for fresh meat. Also starring Adam West, TV's Batman, and directed by Tom McLaughlin, who did Jason Lives, Friday the 13th, Part 6. This blood-curdling tale will chill you with its claustrophobic setting, moody cinematography, foreboding score, and ultra-realistic makeup effects. Now enjoy the Ultimate Edition from brand new HD Master and with tons of brand new extras. But actually, guys, this is the damn Code Red release. I would highly recommend the newer Blu-ray release of this, which Steve actually got. I think it looks better and everything, as most other releases look better than the Code Red releases in general. But yeah, I would highly recommend this one for fall time viewing or any time of viewing actually. But because of the atmosphere and the dead coming back to life and all of that, this definitely fits in with the fall atmosphere. And so I'm not really going to go deep into the special features, although it does have a work print version of the film, and it does have some audio commentary with Tom McLaughlin. But those are the big things on there. But anyway, that's One Dark Night. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Old Curly Jaws for his next one.
All right, the next one, in my opinion, is hands down the greatest puppet movie of all time. And it's also in my opinion, I watch this every fall since I bought it. It's great. And that's Black Devil Doll.
All right.
Have you seen Black Devil Doll, Dana?
Yeah, it's been a while, but I think Steve showed it to me. I think he introduced me to that movie.
This movie, when I first saw this, I remember the first time I was introduced to it was CK and Uncle Bill. They was doing the poster collection video, and CK had the Black Devil Doll poster. He's like, and I just looked at that poster, and I was so intrigued. I'm like, I gotta see this movie. So about a few years later, I would eventually watch this, and I love it. The puppet's hilarious. The acting's over the top. In my opinion, it should have started a franchise.
Mm-hmm. They could have had a franchise with that. It would have worked.
They really could. This
Actually,
release.
go ahead and keep talking, oh Curly Jaws. I'm going to grab something over here to show you.
This release was pretty cool. Like the inside of it, what the inside looks like, and it also came with the. Hold on. Ugh. Let me get this undone here. I didn't know this came with a fucking poster until I just opened the son of a bitch up. But look, it come with a fucking poster, boss. Look here.
Sure did. That's a pretty cool looking poster too.
Yeah, like this is, I think, like the coolest. Like I did not know this was fucking in here, and I want
Well,
that shirt. Like Look at that shirt. He's a motherfucking pup.
Check this out, guys. This is Steve's. It's his black devil doll bobblehead, I guess you'd call it. And he's got a knife. He's got him a bucket of chicken. Yeah.
That's amazing. I want that.
Yeah, this was a limited edition. This is number 509 of 1,000. And this was, I think I think Steve got this from a place called Cult Collectibles. I'm guessing they're still in business. I got him this one. This is a Lucio Fulci bobblehead. I think from Cat in the Brain. I think this is his character from Cat in the Brain. But Steve's got several of those over there. Looks like I lost old Curly Jaws again. While I'm waiting for him to come back, I'm going to read some of this stuff that you guys have put in there. Hold on here. $71, you say, I've never had edibles. Oh, okay, there he is. Add him back. There we go. 71 says, I've never had edibles, but I've heard they are good.
They are amazing. Like, I remember the first time I had them, I was like, I didn't know what to think. Like, I was just like, done.
They say the edibles get into your system differently than smoking the stuff.
It takes like you won't be tripping until like an hour later.
Yeah, maybe, and I'm wondering if maybe I just need to smoke something and like just get it to come on faster instead of having to sit around and wait for it to come on and have so much time to think about it.
Like the vapes are really good.
So that are they almost kind of like instantaneous when you do the vape?
Yeah.
Okay. So TJ says, one of my faves, One Dark Night, love me some E.G. Daily. The corpse effects are pretty gooey and well done. Got some good suspense over jump scares. Let's see. Darren says, One Dark Night is very cool PG horror with Meg Tilly. Some cool atmosphere and set design. Yes, it is PG. I'm glad Darren brought that up so I could say that, yeah, we have at least one PG rated film. Well, The Monsters was PG too, so we had two of them in this bunch. Texas says E.G. Daily is great. I'll have to see that one. Yeah, Texas, I think you would like it. Let's see. And Texas, you say, I've only seen that name. I don't know her, LOL. I don't know if that was about the movie or about something else. Maybe. Oh, and Texas says, Black Devil Doll is great. It's a motherfucking puppet.
I'm getting that tattoo eventually.
You'll have to show that off whenever you get it. 71 says Black Devil Doll sounds good. Chicken does sound good, actually. I need to get some more KFC.
I was debating getting that tonight for dinner.
71 says, I've heard of Cat in the Brain. Yeah, that's a Lucio Fulci movie where he is actually in the movie as a horror film director who's kind of losing his mind. 71, you say, have you seen Cat on 9? I tried to get it streaming in the early 2000s and it didn't download right. I don't know about something just called Cat on 9. I've seen Argento's Cat of Nine Tails, which I like, but I'm not sure about just Cat on 9. Matt says, y'all do a live stream stoned and do a watch along of the Greasy Strangler. Oh, God. I'm not sure how that one will turn out. Let's see. Oh, okay. You say that's it, Cat of Nine Tails. Yes, that's an Argento film. I would highly recommend that one, but I'm a huge Argento fan. Um, so let's see. I'm guessing it's after that. I don't know how I can follow up that on Curly Jaw's Black Devil Doll. How can I follow up that one? But I'm gonna try. This is one of my all time. I'm a huge Evil Dead fan, but this movie would probably, or this movie series is probably going to run a close second behind the Evil Dead series of movies, and that is Phantasm. And Phantasm has got to be a fall movie. Oh, Curly Jaws is shaking his head.
Are you talking about now, which Phantasm? The first one, second one, third one, the fifth one?
This is the original one. This is the original Phantasm.
I like the fifth one.
You like the fifth one? Ravager?
Yeah.
Ravager depressed the hell out of me. And you know why?
Why?
For two reasons. One, that Angus Scrimm was practically on his deathbed at the time that they were filming it. And number two is like, how can you put freaking Reggie Bannister, the freaking ice cream man, that spent the whole series of movies battling the dead and the tall man? How can you put him in the fucking nursing home with dementia? How does that happen? How? I was like so depressed. I mean, I'm not saying that it was badly made or anything. There were a couple of hokey effects with the spheres, but overall, what really bugged me was those two depressing things. The thing about Angus Scrimm, because nobody can, in my mind, nobody can replace Angus Scrimm as the tall man. Nobody. And oh, Curly Jaws is probably thinking, oh yeah, they can.
I got
okay, who's one person you think can play the tall man?
the Great Khali.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I would consider, if they did do that, even in my mind, Angus Scrimm is the tall man. I would consider, watching somebody in that role. Now, I'm not going to say I'd like it.
I think CK and Uncle Bill would love a Phantasm remake with the Great Khali as a tall man.
Well, guys, are you still in here? I want to hear what you because they were in here, but this is the thing about I love CK and Uncle Bill, but they pop in and out of here like popcorn popping. So I don't ever know when they're in here or when they're not in here unless they put something in the chat. Texas says the great Khali can barely speak English. that might work for the whole thing though. Actually, Phantasm is so much fun that when they re-released it in select theaters, me and Steve and Wes and Sarah all went to see it. Now, Aaron was supposed to come and I think bring Savannah with him, but for some reason they couldn't come. So it was just me and Steve and Wes and Sarah. And we all loved Phantasm. Of course, we've been watching it for years, except for Sarah. Sarah thought it was stupid. And she told us that when we were leaving the theater after watching it, she said that movie was stupid.
I could hear her say it too. That's the funny thing. I could hear her say that's stupid.
Yep, she was pretty much like that. It was like, You know, she didn't
Well,
get why we liked it.
she might like the fifth one.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if Wes has showed her that one or not.
Wes needs to show her Black Devil doll.
He may have. Who knows? Oh, goodness. Let's see. So 71 says, I'm getting hungry. And she also says, I love Phantasm. She's seen all of them. Texas says, Jesus, oh, Curly Jaw, slow down and breathe. This is going to make you laugh even more. 71 says that she loves the graveyard scenes. The graveyard scenes are really good in this. And, like, here's something else I love about Phantasm. Not, you know, we're talking about fall stuff and how this seems very fall-like to me. But I love the humor in Phantasm. For instance, the graveyard scene, for instance, when Jody picks up the lady in lavender in the bar and they end up out in the graveyard and they're getting ready to have sex. I mean, he's got her underwear off and everything. And like, he's, you know, just about to be unclothed from the waist down. And so his brother Mike is in the graveyard kind of watching them. And then there's something else in the graveyard, and like Mike starts screaming and running away, and Jody has got the girl's underwear in his mouth, and he raises up and he says, "What the heck?" And he's running after Mike. He says, I gotta go find my brother. He's got some kind of problem. And you hear the lady in lavender say, "What?" And then he just leaves her there in the graveyard. And when he catches up to Mike, he's like, "Mike, what's your problem?" He says, "That girl you're with, you better go get her before it gets her." And he's like, "What in the hell are you talking about?" But that whole scene is just hilarious. There's several scenes like that in the movie where you just bust out laughing just because they almost seem like a real brothers to me, the way real brothers would act towards each other. So let's see what people were saying about Phantasm or Black Devil doll. Let's see. So Texas says Phantasm rules. Matt says Ravager is the worst one. Let's see. Texas says, I saw it when it was originally in the theaters when I was 14. See, damn, Texas, you got to see all the great stuff. I mean, I got to see it in the theater too, but it was like a re-release. It wasn't originally. 71, you say, I slept for half an hour in a graveyard once when I was leaving in my car. I never slept in a graveyard, but I did play hide and seek in a graveyard, which was probably considered blasphemous to do. But I was at a church lock-in, and before it got real late, all us girls were running around in the graveyard kind of playing hide and seek in there. Radkin says, the great collie is the tall man. You sure you haven't been smoking too much? Blissful says he's having Woodstock worthy. Darren said, I did take a girlfriend to watch Phantasm 2 back in 1989. We didn't have a clue what was going on as we never saw the original back then. Love it now. I thought Darren was going to say we didn't know what was going on in Phantasm 2 because I was there with a girlfriend, but no, he didn't go that route. Sorry, Darren. Get my mind in the gutter there. Matt says Black Devil doll is like the black version of the doll on Trilogy of Terror. Have you ever seen Trilogy of Terror, old Curly Jaws?
No, but
that is definitely a Halloween type of movie for me, and it doesn't even take place in in Halloween times. It's just like it maybe fall. Maybe some of it takes place in the fall. Uh, Matt says, "Good thing she didn't eat Taco Bell before he put her drawers in his mouth." Yeah, it's really good. 71 says, "My mind was in the gutter too." 71 says, "I've heard of Trilogy of Terror. I really like it. I think it's a good anthology film, and it has Karen Black in all the stories. So if you like Karen Black, you'll like it." So I guess I've reached the end of mine. Do you have any more that you wanted to talk about, oh Curly Jaws? Oh, good Lord. That's that damn.
In my opinion, better than this is the best Elm Street film right here.
No, I'll have to agree to disagree on that one.
Funny thing is, I used to hate this movie, but I rewatched it about a few months back, and I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe that will
Yeah, I
work
thought.
for me, you think?
Yeah, Jackie Earl. I think something about Jackie Earl Haley. Just that he was really good in this.
I like Jackie Earl Haley in anything but that. I love Jackie Earl Haley in Breaking Away. I loved him in the Bad News Bears movies, but not in the Nightmare on Elm Street remake.
Yeah, sleep again.
I probably never
It's
would sleep again if I
you
watched that thing again.
like what? Like I'm curious. I know a lot of people why they don't like it, but why do you don't like it?
Okay, you want the long version or the short version?
Give me the long one. We got time.
Okay, so in my opinion, and keep in mind this is just my opinion, there's a lot of things wrong with the film. Number one, Jackie Earl Haley was horribly miscast in this movie. He should have never been Freddy Krueger. He is not meant to be Freddy Krueger. But again, that's only my opinion. The other thing, one of the other things I didn't like was the characters. I thought the characters were for shit in this movie. There wasn't one character that I could get behind in that movie. I hated everybody. And you're supposed to like at least one or two people, one at the most. And I with the original Nightmare on Elm Street, I felt for all of those characters, even the ones that were a little unsavory. So, Heather Langenkamp as Nancy. I thought she was perfectly cast in that as Nancy, kind of like the good girl, um, who ends up ultimately defeating Freddy, and kind of, sort of, but except for the last scene, and which kind of led to sequel after sequel after sequel. Of course, when New Line Cinema realized they could make a lot of money. But I just didn't. I just hated the characters in it. I didn't think that they picked the right actors for any of those people, and I don't think that the characters were well drawn. Um, I thought that the one of the first kills, where I don't even know if they called her Tina, but it was the Tina character from, I remember her being Tina from the original film. The one that ends up rolling up the wall and rolling on the ceiling and Freddy slashing her and everything. That scene totally did not work for me in the remake. I mean, it was epic in the original and it was creepy and everything. And I sat there looking at it because I went to the theater and paid money to see this damn remake. And I guess probably the third thing I don't like about it, oh Curly Jaws, is the fact that, and this might be a small potatoes to a lot of people, but it just shows you how far removed some of the newer generation is from the original films. I was standing in line waiting to get my popcorn or whatever, and there was a guy and a girl, I guess they were boyfriend, girlfriend, standing in front of me. And the guy had evidently seen the original Nightmare on Elm Street, but the girl he was with had no clue that there was an original Nightmare on Elm Street. And he was like, "Oh, yeah, there's an original Nightmare on Elm Street." And she's like, "Really? I never heard of it." And like, then they were sitting in front, one row in front of me when we got into the movie. And I kept hearing the girl talk about how great this movie was. Every kill that happened in it. Oh, it's so great. It's so great. And strangely, her boyfriend was very quiet. So I'm wondering if he was kind of like me, that he was a big fan of the original. And then, just seeing his girlfriend praise this movie, he was probably like, "What in the hell?" But yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, I could go on, but I won't because I don't want to bore people. But boy, oh,
All
Curly
right,
loves those. He loves them remakes. There,
I'll
he's
tell you, okay,
upset.
if you okay, you got these two movies, right? If you had to watch one for the rest of your life, it'd be the only movie you can watch. What would it be? Rob Zombie's Halloween or the Nightmare on Elm
God,
Street
you're gonna kill
remake?
me. I'm guessing it would have to be Rob Zombie's Halloween. Yeah. If you're saying like if I was stuck on a desert island maybe and only had one movie I could watch for the rest of my
Yes.
days. Yeah, I'd have to say Rob Zombie's Halloween as much as I don't like either one of those. I think I could probably tolerate it a little bit better than the Nightmare on Elm Street remake. So let's see what everybody's been saying here. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Texas said, I just got that trilogy of Terror in the last Kino sale. Awesome. TJ, you say, I just watched Uncle Bill and CK's review on the Munsters. UP says, don't watch it. Haha. Check out their video they just posted. I'm going to have to look at that. Darren says, everyone should do some gummies while watching the Nightmare remake. Joking aside, I actually didn't mind it. TJ says Jackie Earl Haley should have played the character totally different. Seems they were making him a creepy shadow version of Robert Englund. Darren says, TJ, I've actually seen some of the bigger horror YouTube channels like the Munsters remake. That blows my mind because it was terrible on every level.
You haven't watched the Munsters remake or the Munsters Rob Zombie one yet, have you?
Me? No, I just saw a few scenes as Steve was watching. I was walking in and out of the bedroom and I just saw parts of it. I saw the part where they
You'll
were
definitely.
doing Sonny and Cher, where Herman and Lily were doing Sonny and Cher.
You know what's funny? Like this is supposed to be a prequel. I think we'll never get like a sequel to it.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, what would you think, oh Curly Jaws, if like Rob Zombie waited a little bit and then he did turn it into a television series? What would you think about that?
I probably like that's the right route.
And maybe you will. Maybe other people got that idea too, because I kind of think that might be a plausible idea or a plausible way to go on it.
Did you ever watch Rob Zombie's animated film?
I don't think I did. I don't think I
That
watched that one.
I recommend The Haunted World of El Super Beast. Yeah, that's his animated film. It's really good.
I thought that was the title of it. Yeah, I don't think I've ever watched it, but I'm sure Steve has probably got it somewhere. So if I ask him, he'd say, "Oh yeah, I have it." A lot of stuff he tells me, don't buy it. Dana. I got it on the hard drive. Just watch it first and then determine if you want to buy it or not. Let's see. TJ says, yeah, Darren, there's more wrong than right, in my opinion, for the Munsters movie. I don't see how some people love it that much. Oh, Dirk's in here. Let's see. TJ says 1966 Munsters Go Home was the better movie version of the Munsters. Dirk says, how y'all doing? I gotta say, fuck that Dahmer Netflix show. I mean, people are creaming themselves. It's a piece of shit. Now you got Dirk's perspective on the Dahmer Netflix
I I watched a little bit of the first episode and I was just like, I like Evan Peters, I really do, but I'm just like the first episode, like he gets caught within like I don't know how many minutes into the show, and I'm like, well, then what the hell is the rest of the episode? Like his trial, I don't know. I
show.
feel like they really missed the boat. Like I'm gonna try to watch more of the first episode, but like this is why I'm not a fan of Netflix original shows or like any like shows like when people like everybody's talking about Stranger Things.
Uh,
Fuck Stranger Things.
well, I love Stranger Things. I can't say that I don't like it, but most original programming that they have for some of these streaming services, I don't care for it at all. I did like the Ted Bundy stuff that they did. And like they had like the Ted Bundy tapes and gosh, I'm trying to remember what the other one was called. And it was based on a lot of the stuff that
Gacy.
well, this was another Ted Bundy one, and I think
Uh,
it was told from, like, the point of view of his girlfriend at the time that he got arrested for killing all
you
those women.
this is what I would do, and I just thought I don't know why I just thought about this when you said Ted Bundy. Rob Zombie, I'm giving you an idea. Take it right now for your next film. Do a version of Monster Squad, but with all the serial killers: Charles Manson, Ted Bundy, Jeffrey
Sounds
Dahmer, John
interesting.
Wayne Gacy, the Zodiac Killer. Fucking. I think those are the big ones. If I can think, if anybody else can think, let me know in the comment section. Who would you want to see in that Monster Squad serial killer movie? I think it'd be great.
Oh, 71 says, "I love Ted Bundy." Now, I don't know I don't love Ted Bundy. I find him
Ted Bundy loves you.
more I guess I find a morbid it's morbid curiosity more than anything else. I had my mom ask me one time why I watched all this stuff on serial killers and stuff, like and cults and things like that, because I watched Helter Skelter, the original mini series with Steve Railsback playing Charles Manson. That is so ingrained in me, Steve Railsback's voice, that I cannot watch that man in anything else and not think Charles Manson. That was how good he was at playing Charles Manson in Helter Skelter. Um, and that was a good miniseries too. But I told my mom, I said, I watch things like Helter Skelter, The Deliberate Stranger about Ted Bundy, where Mark Harmon actually plays Ted Bundy in that. And he does a really good job of playing the nice guy and then playing the crazy guy. He flips just like a switch is flipping. Now, to me, that's the mark of a good actor. Because Mark Harmon mostly is known for like more comedic roles. Like he was great in Summer School. I love Summer School. And he plays a teacher, a gym teacher that gets stuck teaching summer school. And if you have not seen that movie, have you ever seen that old Curly Jaws Summer School?
It sounds familiar.
If you haven't, I highly, highly recommend that movie because you have two characters in it that horror fans will love, Chainsaw and Dave. And they want to watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre all the time. And there's this one great scene in there when Mark Harmon is like calling roll and he calls the guy named Chainsaw by his real name, Francis Grimp or whatever. And he says, "No, don't ever call me that." And he says, "Well, what should I call you?" He says, "Call me Chainsaw." He says, "As in Black and Decker?" And Chainsaw says, "No, as in Texas Massacre." And so I guess being a horror fan, that those two characters, Chainsaw and Dave, are just awesome. And Dean Cameron plays Chainsaw in that, and I met Dean Cameron a few years back, and he was just so cool. When I
Speaking
met
of Chainsaw, have you
Mhm.
seen Chainsaw Sally?
I've heard of that one, but I've never watched it.
Right, I watch it. It's really good. Very underrated.
I'll have to try that one out sometime. Let's see. Blissful says that was a good one, Dana. Let's see. 71 says Ted Bundy could have been my soulmate. I don't think I'd want him to be my soulmate. He might kill me in my sleep or something.
I mean,
Well, intellect, I guess technically, and I wasn't saying that Manson was a serial killer. I said I watch cult movies too, as well as serial killer movies. No, technically, Manson
yeah.
wasn't a serial killer. He just brainwashed people in his cult so much that he told them to go out and kill people, and they did it. But I think Manson killed a few more people than he would admit to. Maybe not serial killer level, but I think he did murder some people. Um, okay, guys, everybody's picking on me now because I guess they thought I was saying Charles Manson was a serial killer. No, I'm saying Charles Manson was a cult leader. I said I like, or I have a morbid curiosity for serial killer movies and cult movies. See, Jim Jones wasn't a serial killer either, but I have a morbid curiosity for things like Guyana tragedy that is about Jim Jones. Um, Perhaps I didn't say it clearly
You
enough.
know what's fucked up?
What's that?
Jim Jones is my great great uncle.
Really? Oh boy. Didn't he did he grow up in Indiana?
I
Or
think
did
so. Yeah.
Okay, because I was thinking when I watched Guyana Tragedy, when it started out and he was a little boy, that it said it was in Indiana. Texas says Steve Railsback, Dana. Well, yeah, I mean, he played Charles Manson in the movie, and I can't hear his voice now without thinking about Charles Manson. 71 says summer school was awesome. I agree. Dirk says, I'd have to say Ed Gein, oh, Curly. He's the most twisted of them all, in my opinion. So I guess
Yeah.
that's who he'd want in there.
You probably, I don't know if you know this one. You might know. Do you know who Pee Wee Gaskins was?
That name sounds a little familiar, but I'm not familiar with
Bruh,
that
I
one.
mean, look up Pee Wee Gaskins documentary. You'll be like, I recommend you watching that and then reviewing it.
Okay, I'll have to look into that. Darren says, spoiler, I did like it overall. The middle of it got more and more trippy. The ending was superb, in my opinion. They may be talking about Titane there. Dirk said Railsback played Ed Gein as well. You are right, Dirk, but I don't. And my dog just knocked over my lights back there. Bless his heart. But yeah, I had forgotten that he played Ed Gein. Holy cow, there's no curly jaws eyeball there. TJ said Chainsaw and Dave should have had a spin-off slasher movie of their own. LOL. It could have been like Tucker and Dale versus Evil, only it'd be Chainsaw and Dave.
That Tucker and Dale versus Evil, that should have got more movies. I don't know what that was just. I can't believe that
I
was just a
love that.
one. Like,
Middle
would you?
Go ahead, old curly jaws.
Would you see like I think okay, Tucker if they did a Tucker and Dale versus Jason movie, would you see that?
Probably. I could see myself watching it. Milik says the Green River Killer was a tragic tale of how incompetent police aided a far below average killer avoid arrest, almost as if police intentionally allowed him to stay free to kill young prostitutes. Well, if you watch a lot of this stuff, the police do stupid stuff all the time. Almost every one of these cases, the police do stupid shit. And I know Charles Manson was not a serial killer. I'll say that. He wasn't a serial killer. But if you watch Helter Skelter, the gun that they used in one of the crimes that his cult members used in one of the crimes, they kind of basically threw that gun over a hillside. Well, this kid found it. And the kid knew that you shouldn't like touch it all over because there could be fingerprints on it. So he told his dad about it. His dad calls the cops. What's the first thing these stupid cops do as soon as they get there? Is touch it all over. I'm like, how stupid? How stupid are you? So,
Stupid.
Darren says, Dark, also the first 25 minutes when she was doing the serial killing was fantastic. Wish they had continued that throughout. Yeah, they got to be talking about Titan there. 71 says the Green River Killer was an interesting serial killer too. Texas says, Dirk, I read this book called Deviant by Harold Schechter. It was about Ed Gein. It was so graphic I had to stop twice because I was having the dry heaves. Now, I read Helter Skelter years and years ago, and all the horror movies I watch, all the horror novels I've read, but this true stuff really gets to me because I kept getting like midways through Helter Skelter, and I would get to the part where they talked about doing the creepy crawls, which they would dress all in black and go purposely break into people's houses to see if they could sneak around in their house without waking any people up. They wouldn't kill anybody. They just do the creepy crawl and then leave. But they would cut screens. They would talk about cutting the screens. That's how they got into Sharon Tate's house. They cut the screen and just come into their house.
You don't want to know something? Sharon Tate's my third cousin.
Holy cow! Oh, curly jaws, you got some interesting familial connections there. Oh goodness. But so I would get to those parts in the book and I would just have to close the book and set it aside. I was like, I can't do it anymore. I finally managed to finish the book, and the book was good. It's just that for all my, saying, oh, I've watched this horror movie, that horror movie, I've read all Stephen King's books and all that. When it comes to the real stuff, I have a hard time getting through some of those things. I read The Night Stalker. That was a hard book to get through. The Night Stalker is another one of those killers. It's just they all seem to be pretty evil, but he seemed to be really evil. He was into Satanism and all kinds of stuff. So, Milik says Ted Bundy's last murder was a vicious rape murder of a 12-year-old child. Yes, that is very disturbing. 71 says Jim Jones is very fascinating. Well, in some ways, yeah, but he was crazy though. So, he started out. The sad thing about Jim Jones, if you watch Guyana Tragedy, for instance, he started out with a lot of good ideas. He started out wanting to help people. And then somewhere along the way, he just went off the deep end.
He's just like he just looked at that shitty movie Madman's like, I'm gonna fucking kill people. Y'all gonna drink Kool-Aid now.
Yeah, that's what it was. Um, Blissful says Manson has always fascinated me, but I was born in 1969, so it was always a cautionary tale in our home. My parents were convinced I'd end up in a cult. Steve always kids me that I'd be one of Charlie's girls. That's what he tells me. I said, no, I wouldn't. I don't want to be anywhere. I would. While that man was alive, I wouldn't have wanted to be anywhere near him. See, Matt says Ed Gein was weird, but he wasn't the most twisted. Otis or Otis, however they pronounce it, Tool, and Henry Lee Lucas was more twisted than Gein. Yeah, if you've ever seen Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, that is a very dark and
Did
depressing.
did you hear about that murder that it was or this guy he lived over here in Indiana and he had like girls in his like basement and they were dead and it was crazy.
It seems like that seems familiar about dead girls in the basement. Um, But did you hear me talk about Curly Jaws? There used to be a guy that probably could be considered a serial killer that used to live out in the country not far from my mom and dad's house.
God.
And my dad went coon hunting with him too. And dad said I could have very well ended up one of his victims or something. But I was like,
He
Dad,
must have, I
why did
mean
you go coon
he must have liked your dad.
hunting? Yeah. Because he killed one guy in his house, and it was a guy that my mom and dad knew, and he killed the guy and got blood all over in his house. Then he took the guy. I guess he drove the guy's car with the dead guy in there. He drove it to another spot, covered it in gasoline, and lit it on fire. So when they found the guy in the burned out car, of course, he was nothing but a skeleton, a burned up skeleton. I think they had to identify him by his dental records. And that happened not very far from my mom and dad's house. But when the cops came in to investigate and they found all this blood in this guy's house, you know what he told them? He said, I killed a
Mm.
very large animal. Yeah, he killed a very large animal. He killed a human being in his house. So he went to prison for a while and now he's dead. But they didn't execute him. He just died in prison. But yeah, there's some scary stories I can tell.
Yeah, and then there's that serial killer midget in downtown Louisville.
There was that guy when I was still working for the library. There was a guy. I guess he was mentally ill. They said he was running around naked through the streets of downtown Louisville with a sword. He was completely naked and he was trying to kill people with a sword. I'm glad I didn't run into that guy. But Dirk says, yeah, Tex, he was a whole other level. Psycho, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and Silence of the Lambs were inspired from Ed. Blissful says, I wanted to design jewelry inspired by Ed Gein. I don't know if I'd want to do that. Milik says the Zodiac, Jack the Ripper, BTK only get mystique because they aren't identified for years and decades, but only Zodiac is an interesting study. Let's see. Dirk says Titan is based on a true story. I'll stop talking now. We'll save it for the Euro cult. Yeah, you guys are going to give all the secrets away before we talk about it
We
on.
all we all we all know who the Zodiac killer is.
Who's the Zodiac killer? Oh, Curly Jaws.
Ted Cruz.
That's what they say. Matt says, I read somewhere that Manson did kill a black guy that was a drug deal gone bad. Yeah, I heard about that one. And there were at least a couple others, I think, that they that they attributed to Manson. TJ says Tucker and Dale could have been the Abbott and Costello of the 2010s. Milek says police don't hire candidates if they score too high on entrance exams. Police are the only group that screens out high intelligence, unsolved murders result. I can believe that. And Milek also says, I think the Zodiac remained free by luck, but he was a master manipulator and math genius. I think a relative helped ID him a few years ago. Yes, Albert Fish was pretty sick as well. Let's see. 71 says, well, Jim Jones had monkeys. That was cool. I feel sorry for those poor monkeys. Milek says the documentary about him showed that he was the only serial killer who toyed with police extensively and how a psychopath can control the public. I think Son of Sam did that a little bit too. Matt says Trump could be the new Jim Jones. I never seen people so fanatic over a politician billionaire. Me too, Matt. That was the creepiest thing about the whole Trump fiasco, I think. And I apologize to anybody that's in here that likes Trump, but I do feel like it was like a cult mentality. The way people
Fuck that orange bitch.
don't you think it was a cult mentality? The way people just rallied around Trump, it was just so.
Yeah.
I have never seen that happen with any other politician ever. And it's still going on, and the guy ain't even in office anymore. Darren says the Phantom Killer from 1946 and the Zodiac were the ones that fascinated me the most. I think they pretty much know who Jack the Ripper is, some foreign immigrant. I think that's what Steve was telling me too. Let's see. Darren says BTK was another extreme stupidity. Got caught in the end. Boy, this has turned into the serial killer show, old Curly Jaws.
Yeah, definitely.
Blissful said, I was an acquaintance with a man who took 3 lives that completely changed my view on true crime.
Shit, we could do a whole series on serial killers like this. Like each episode could be a specific one.
Yeah, Menelek says cults are filled with people who have low self-esteem, weak sense of self, those who are just looking to belong, etc. I find nothing charismatic about any cult leader. I don't either, Menelek, but I think, exactly what you said, people with low self-esteem, that's who they're targeting. And those that want to belong to something, and they never feel like they belong. And here comes a guy who says, especially to women, like Charles Manson did, you're beautiful, come have sex with me, that he made them feel important. And then the next thing you know, hey, go out and kill these people for me. That's the next thing after he's filled you full of LSD and filled you full of his bullshit theories, then he tells you to go out and kill for him. Matt says, what's up with mentally unstable people and swords? Every city has that one psycho swinging swords around the city. I don't know, Matt. I don't know. Matt says, you should do serial killer Saturdays. I might. Who knows? I might be able to get Uncle Bill to do that with me. He's interested in all that jazz. And Milek says Jack the Ripper was identified over 100 years ago by the UK police. I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it. So I'm finally caught up on the chat. Well, I was. TJ just said something here. He says, that is why I love movies. Real life is a true, unreal story. LOL. But I have pretty much caught up on the chat. Is there anything that you want to add, oh Curly Jaws, before we get off of here?
I think I'm good.
Okay. I'm going to read Dirk's thing here. He says, fuck all politics. They live, we sleep. The sheeple will always follow whoever convinces them. We need to get some damn sunglasses like in They Live. That's what we need. So I want to thank old Curly Jaws for being on here with me tonight. And again, he has an open invitation to come on anytime he wants. He will be live with me for the Maximum Overdrive watch along this Saturday, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're having a double feature watch along this weekend because Saturday we're doing Maximum Overdrive. Sunday we're doing Don't Go in the House, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern time because it's a Sunday. We're starting a little early. And then who knows what else I may have up my sleeve. Of course, we're going to have Cheese Extreme Wednesday, as we do on every Wednesday. Tuesday, we'll be having another Mate versus Fragasso. I don't, yeah, that's right. And Monday, I don't know, I may do another Fall Frights episode. Who knows? It all depends on my health, guys, because the last couple of days have been like really bad health wise, but I really wanted to be on this stream. I was looking forward to it. I know old Curly Jaws was looking forward to it, and I was eager to see what movies he was going to pull out of his hat, or pull out of his hair, or whatever he was going to pull out. But I do like your hair, old Curly Jaws. It's very
No,
interesting.
thank you.
But
Yeah.
you're lucky you work in a line of work that you can have that kind of hair, because a lot of places wouldn't let you have that color hair.
As soon as they told me we don't like your hair, blown by.
All right, I'll find me another job. I'll work remotely. Then you can
Exactly.
do anything you want if you work remotely. You can sit around in your underwear if you're working remotely. So. But you could sit around naked, but I wouldn't advise it, especially if you've got animals around, dogs and kitty cats and stuff like that.
Fucking bird just attacks you like.
I know you got at least one kitty cat, don't you, old Curly Jaws? Because I've seen your cat. You got two of them? Okay. So, yeah, you probably wouldn't want to sit around completely naked. They might get a little playful. It might be painful for you.
It's like.
But
there was before we head off. There's just one little thing. There's one time I was sleeping naked, and then my cat ran off the couch and bit my ass, and then ran off.
That just seems so funny, and it seems like something a cat would do. I'm just gonna bite you in the ass, and then I'm gonna run away. I bet you was like, "What in the hell?"
I was like, "You little bastard."
My cousin Heather, she's always had cats. And when I used to go visit her when she was still living at home with her parents, I would visit her every summertime, like for a week or something. And when she had this one kitten, that cat would wake me up every morning, its teeth on my toes, and they felt like needles. It just wanted to bite my toes, and I would be like, please, kitty, don't do that. But it hurt so bad. I mean, cats have super sharp teeth. I mean, but is there anything that you want to promote that you've got coming up, old Curly Jaws? You got anything coming up on your channel, or?
I got a few things coming up. I'm gonna be doing a commentary, like another like the one I did for the Munsters earlier today. I'm gonna do one for Black Devil Doll. Just because that's a movie I love, and it's that time of the year to watch it. So that's coming up. and I'll probably be on more streams with you. It just depends on timing and work and all that jazz.
Yeah,
Health wise, that too.
I get that. But like what goes for old Curly Jaws goes for the rest of the gang in here because I haven't had trouble from one person. As I've said before, if you get in here and you act like a butt and you treat other people bad and stuff, then you will be kicked off the stream. But so far, I have not had anybody do that. Everybody's been respectful of everybody else, and that's the way I would like to keep it. It doesn't mean that we have to agree the same on all the movies. You saw me and Curly Jaws kind of laughing at each other about some of these movies, but that's all in good fun. It's not meant to hurt the other person's feelings. And, if I felt like anybody was out of line, I would definitely say something. But I don't feel like anybody has been out of line that's been on these live streams with me. So as long as everybody is cool, then everybody has an open invitation to be on here. All you got to do is ask, and I will send you the link. And so I think Texas is going to be live on the stream, probably audio only because I don't think he has a camera. But as I've said, Wes says everybody's got to be on camera, but I say no, you don't have to be on camera. If you don't have a camera, of course you can't be on camera. If you feel uncomfortable being on camera, then I wouldn't ask you to be on camera. I've been on camera enough now that I don't even pay attention to it anymore. I'm just on here. I just get on here and start talking. And I barely even look at myself on the screen to see how I'm looking. So I'm sure I look fantastically crazy sometimes, but I'm just on here talking about movies. But again, I want to thank old Curly Jaws for being on here. I want to thank everybody for being in the chat. We had a pretty good crew. We've been staying about even with about 9 or 10 people total at all times. So it's been a pretty big crew in here. We've talked about a lot of different things, but I think it's time to say goodnight because it's 10 after 10. And I know it's really late for Darren. I keep forgetting about that. But Blissful just subbed. Awesome. I appreciate that. So with that being said, I'm going to skedaddle on out of here for the night. And go Curly Jaws is saying sayonara for the night.
You can't see me.
He's going to smoke him some more weed and have some more gummies. And he's off the stream. So good night, guys. And I will see everybody on the flip side.